Right, welcome to video 4. This SWR video is going to be on the reference pages. So oftentimes our reference pages will be done in the classrooms with the classroom teacher, but there are times that you will do them at home in your satellite classroom. Reference pages are also one of those things that will help you understand the system. They will help you understand the spelling rules and also the components of marking and kind of the deeper level and tools and reasons why things are the way they are. So it would encourage you as much as possible to dive into the reference pages or review them with your children as you go through the system. Again, they are part of the preliminaries, and so they will be done at different times, and that will be dictated in lesson plans by your classroom teacher. There will be times that we will start a new reference page, and so you're introducing something, and it's the first time you write it, and then these will get repeated kind of year in and year out, even as you go through the list, you'll see in the preliminaries in your lists, either introduce or review a certain page. It might be the same spelling rule that you're reviewing, okay? So let's dive in. Oops. So again, it's important when you're learning, it's important to practice. Practice is what's gonna make it so that this makes sense. Keep a step ahead if you can of your students. So even just looking at something ahead of time is going to help you to understand a little bit more and stay ahead, and it'll make your time in your satellite classroom a little smoother. Okay. So you can say, I'm going to use mine. Mine, again, is fairly old, so I lost its cover, but this is when I first started, and so I started doing the first couple dictations on my own to practice that. And then I also did the first time I did a reference page. So for this video, we're going to do the reference pages. So why reference pages? It's a way to read and write the words and figure out how they fit together. It's a way to reinforce spelling. Sometimes you can do that with multisensory activities. This is another way to do it. This is actually just on integration and variety. Oops. Okay. I guess I moved too fast. Okay. Sorry. So reference pages. This is the one I was supposed to be on. They are taught each year. It's a way to repeat and review. It's also a way to have active participation. So you actively have to thinking about it. We don't make our own in Black Learning Logs. Both of the logs, they have pre-printed reference pages. Thankfully, that saves a lot of time. Examples, so again, your classroom teacher will tell you when to do this. They are a step in your book. So for instance, step 9 says dictate the consonant and vowel page. Okay, so that's one that we will probably practice in our workshop, that consonant and vowel page can be here. So hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I paused. There was someone at the door. So this is just like a typical satellite classroom, right? You get interrupted, you gotta take care of something and come back. So I'm gonna leave this in here just so you know, this is what's gonna happen in your satellite classroom. All right, back to reference pages. So an example, again, these are written in details in step by step. Okay, so for example, the consonant vowel page is in step 9. That's kind of like the dictation system in step 11, I think, or 12, where it's going to give you more information probably than you want. It's going to be like everything that you would ever want to say, and it's going to cover all the different levels. one of the things that I found that's very helpful, and again, maybe once you understand the reference page or what it's trying to do, when I was teaching my kids or my students, I would use Appendix C and teach the reference page from that page. Okay, so you can see in Appendix C, there's a primary learning log examples of all of the appendices, I'm sorry, of all the references. Okay, and so you can see here's this consonant vowel page. As you keep going, then there's examples of the Black learning log. Okay, and so that was kind of easier for me once I got used to the system. Okay, but if you want more information, again, you can go to that step and it'll show in the preliminaries which step the page is. Okay, and so you can just go according using your red guide. Okay, if you want more details and more of it, if you want, you can go to that appendix, okay, and teach from that. So I want to show you just a couple examples of what a reference page does and what it looks like, okay? And again, we will, in our workshop, we'll create one or two of these and you'll be doing these and you'll see examples throughout the year. But let me just show you at least one or two of them, okay? So when we are looking at, again, if we know certain vowels and certain consonant, there's different reasons to use those. Like I know every syllable has to have a vowel. That's why we use our type 4 silent E. But I need to know what a consonant and vowel is then, right? And so before each year, you will do a consonant vowel page. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing here and just so you can see me a little bit better. Okay, there we go. And so you can see, here's my consonant vowel page, okay? So when I'm looking, I would kind of look through and maybe you have an alphabet in front of you, maybe you just say it, but what vowels would be a closed sound and make a consonant sound, okay? You can just give your kids these and have them write them with a little space in between, okay? So I might just say, hey, b, k, s, d, g, j, and I watch them write them, okay? So they would be writing them in this spot as they go, okay? J, k. I'm gonna go fast. You get the point, okay? And then, just like I do, I wanna think about these consonants, okay? So in my consonants, which ones have multiple sounds, okay? And we're gonna make a little check mark over those multiple sounds. And so you can see I've done a check mark in red over the C, the G, and the S, okay? Because those are consonants that make multiple sounds. I'm going to underline the Q and the U because they always go together. It's more like a multi-letter phonogram, okay? And then I have circled the Y because we're going to see that letter can either be a consonant or it can be a vowel, okay? In the middle of your page, if it's in the primary learning log, okay, there's going to be two rules, okay? And you might just read those, C and G, right? So we know these are two rules. The C says S before E, I, or Y. The G says J before E, I, or Y. That's rules 2 and 3. Q always needs a U. That's rule 1. That's why we underlined. And then Z, never S, says Z at the beginning of a base word. Okay, that's also a rule. So those are just listed there. And again, we don't talk about them too much in kindergarten through 2nd grade. Let me just show you the Black learning log. Okay, you can see the space is a lot closer together. One of my kids did this, okay, and they just did capital letters, but it's still the same. Okay, and then they are going to fill out examples of these rules. Okay, so maybe you only do 3 of these. It's fine. It's not like you have to do all 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but so maybe you just do cat. Oh, they actually spelled these wrong. Cabbage is 2 B's and they spelled it with 1. Okay, so double check them. Okay, grumpy, grudge, gut, gal. Okay, so that usually says that. And then if it's with the E, I, or Y, now we're going to use scent, city, Cyrus, gents. You can do different ones, Jim, gem. Okay. So again, you don't have to do all these words. It might just be a few just to get the idea of it. Q, and they just filled in the U is not a vowel. Okay. And then they just fill in the blank base word. Okay. So there's a little more filling in on the Black Learning Log. Okay. And then there's a vowel page at the end. So our younger kids often do this on a different day. Our older kids can probably do this all at once. But again, I'm going to list the vowels. Okay. I'm going to give an example of each of the columns. Okay. So I had a different way to do this. Okay, so you can see I might say, okay, a, ah. So the short sound is M, and you would dictate it just like you do. Okay, the long sound is apron. So a, p, n. Wasp, w, a, s. Okay, and then we mark them. So it's gonna have the underline because that says it's long sound because it's at the end of the syllable, and then the third sound. Okay, so again, some of the letters only have a short and a long and not a third sound. Okay, and then we bracketed the I and the Y because the Y stands in for the I sound. Okay, here we didn't, if you wanted to, you can add a third E, like baby. Okay. Here we just did what the book said. And so we just did Jim cry. Okay. This one could be baby. Okay. Where the Y stands in for the long E. Okay. I hope that kind of makes sense what a reference page does. There are multiple reference pages if you look. There's the multi-letter phonogram. So again, you might start filling that out at if you're first, second grade, you might fill out more of those, the ones that you've learned. And then if you've learned them all, really by the end of first grade, by the middle of first grade, they know them all. And so they would fill that out at the beginning of the year. They could fill that reference page all out at once. If not, they could just add which ones they learn as they go. Okay. There's a sh page. So when do we use sh? Right. So this is a rule. And so I could get my rule cards out. Right. And so I might say this is rule 10 and 11. Right. So I might start them with this. Okay, so sh is used at the beginning of the word, at the end of a syllable, but not at the beginning of any syllable after the first one, except for the ending ship. Okay, and that is because we've got rule 11, which are Latin spellings of sh used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Okay, so again, we might use these cards to review, to introduce, okay? But now to flesh that out, I have a reference page. Okay, probably before some of these words are in your list. Okay, so in your reference page, I have at the beginning of a word, and I might give a couple examples. So maybe when I'm introducing it, I say she, short, and shot. Okay, at the end of the syllable, like fish or wash, okay? But not at the beginning of any syllable after the first one, like action, tension, right? So this is sh, zh. Here you see the sh sound. If I wanted the zh sound, I have division. Okay. The short sh, I might give them an example of facial. Okay. Except for the ending ship. And maybe you give them sunship. Okay. And then if they have more examples as they go through their words, as they go through their lists, you can always add more words. Okay, so it's not like this has to be filled out when you're introducing a reference page. I'm not expecting you to, be able to fill this out right now, but I want you to kind of see what reference pages are used for. And again, these are going to be repeated. You can see, right? That's K through second. You're probably, I don't know if they probably do some of the sh in first grade. And, second, they would fill that out. In third, they're also going to fill it out. Okay, it just looks different. Okay, so it's the same rule. It's the same kind of reference page. I might use different letters or different words, but I'm the principle, right? So do you understand how you're gonna get this principle over time? Okay, and so again, these are different words, the beginning of a word, like shape, ship, shoe, at the end of a syllable, like fish, wash, with the ending ship, okay, so friendship, and then here's your Latin spellings. Okay, there's more Latin spellings because there's more words in their list now that are longer and have more Latin spellings. They have more syllables, so you're using them at the end of the first syllable or the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Okay, and so again, they have more examples of the sh, Latin sh. Okay, and lastly, I said it's not just Latin and Greek, but we've got some French words too. Well, right, the French word chef is actually an example of our third sound of ch or ch, right? So it goes ch, k, sh, like a train. Well, a lot of French words with a ch make the sh or the third sound of that. And so now we have that in this reference page. That would be kind of an advanced level. And as they get up into those upper grammar level reference pages, okay? You can see there's an page, the 5 letters. There's a silent final E page, okay, that talks about those 5 E types, why we drop E's, why we exchange Y for an I, plurals, how we do plurals, okay, how we do endings, past tense endings, lots of different things, okay? Your students will probably not fill out everything in the reference pages. We're integrating lots of things together, but there's so many different options, and this is really what's going to help build some depth and help integrate things together for your students. So don't be overwhelmed by reference pages. Your classroom teacher is there to help you get through them. You've got a step-by-step guide to each and every one of them, and you've got your Appendix C that has examples of what they can look like. Don't feel like your child's page has to have as many words in the reference pages as the example does. They've really listed almost all the words and what it would look like at maybe the end of the year or as they keep going throughout. And so again, they're not meant to be overwhelming. They're meant to give you depth and richness. Okay, that is the end of this video. In the last video, I will just give some tips, some rhythms, and things like that. So I will see you for the last and final video of SWR.